All right, I was at the store today. I needed some inductors, and you know, it's dangerous going into the store because there's always weird things someplace that you might run across. Anyway, I found this thing, which I seemed like I had needed one. I don't know. The price was right. It's 25 bucks. So I figured, yeah, okay, it'd be good for the channel, and it'd be good for me. It looks like fun. The lady said. Some guy that was in there with her dad, and she wanted this thing because it had all these pretty colors and stuff on it, and could he buy it for her? And he said no, blah, blah, blah. And I think he missed a great opportunity. Should have bought it for the little girl. She would have got it home. She would have saw the cool thing, and then she would have looked at all this, and maybe in the back of her mind she'd think about this technology, and maybe as she grew older she said, I wonder what those things do. And look at that thing down there. What is that? That's a PC board? What is that, right? And I don't know. Buy cool stuff for your kids, even if you think they're gonna throw it in the trash can tomorrow. I don't know. Seems like a good thing to do. So there's a whole bunch of tubing. So it's obviously some type of pneumatic thing. It's going to control something, and it's got what I thought were just solenoids to whack on and off the switches and stuff. But it's more complicated than that. We'll take it apart. There's a PC board down here with some interesting things that I don't know what they are. I think they're pressure switches, but I'm not sure. There's these guys here, which are a dual switch, and they are marked 24 volts. So they have a little connector on the top for 24 volts. You think, okay, they're just on off, but I think they're more complicated than that too, because there are tubes on the top, but there's a manifold on the bottom, and there's tubes on both sides of the manifold. So I don't quite understand how that works. And then these guys have no electronics going to them at all. There's no electricity going to these guys, but there's a manifold down below and there's tubes above. So I think these guys might be pressure-controlled switches. So a particular pressure on this tube switches the tube on the bottom. I don't know. And then there's this thing here, which I don't know what that is. This weird thing just has an in and an out, and it's marked 80 psi. So I don't know if this is a regulator, a pressure regulator, or if it goes above 80 psi, does it like shut things off? Does it protect? I don't know. You guys can help me out if you know how all this stuff works. But I think what we need to do is take some of the things out. I kind of want to get it kind of opened up so I can see more inside. So let's see on the bottom here. Yeah, let's take out some of these Torx bits here. All right, well, we had this thing out. I got lazy, just started cutting them off. Yeah, this is what these things are. Can you read that? There you go. I did look at the data sheet. It didn't really help me. I couldn't quite figure it out. Oh man, I'm not. So I don't know what the manifold looks like, and I don't know how these interact with the manifold, because there's kind of like ins and outs. But then there's these two over here, and I don't know why there'd be two of them. So, and I don't know how to disassemble this thing if it's disassemblable. I guess you take these two screws out, and then it comes off the manifold. Maybe, I guess. Looks like we'd do that. Okay, let's take one out. All right, I loosened those two screws up, and yes, indeed, it is a manifold. There's two screws here, so there's a bunch of holes that made up with a bunch of holes. And yeah, I still don't know how it works. I think this is the control, and it moves a piston in and out, and it allows certain things to happen down here. But what those particular happenstances are, I don't know. I don't know. Let's put this back in so I don't lose them. And set that aside for now. This one here, it's obviously got the main, I think this is the main input here to bring in air. and it goes into here. And I think these are switches, but how they switch, I don't know, because you can see there's 3 outputs, or 3 other things here and 1 other thing here. This one doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what those are. And then on top, there's 2 ports for each switch, and it's a dual switch. So does that mean that this is not being used, or do these, I don't know. I don't know how these things work. Anyway, there's the part number there for that one. And again, I printed out the data sheet. It doesn't make any sense to me yet. I guess I need to stare at it more. Humphreys, made in Japan. Good stuff. I'm sure these are a penny if you want to go buy one. And then there's these side ports here. I think these are plugs. No. Yeah, maybe plugs. I think they go in. So I don't know what these side ports do. It's all very strange to me. Yeah, all very strange. Okay, but this is an electronics channel, isn't it? Yeah, so this kind of caught my eye in the store. I did break one off when I was moving things around. I did break that one off, so he's no longer good. But there are these PC board mount things that have hose nibs on them. So that's pretty cool. A dip component with a hose nib. I've never seen that before. This one says Honeywell, and these don't seem to have a maker's name on them. And it's a 4-layer board, it would appear. So I don't know if these are just pressure switches. This internal circuitry, I believe. Or maybe super, I don't know. So anybody recognizes those things, says, hey, I know what those things are. They're either a pressure switch or a pressure transducer, where you can actually measure the amount of pressure you have, like a barometer. What's that little guy down there? Is he a clue? Is he a clue? It's an LM393 comparator. Yeah, so, and 393 is 390. So a bunch of comparators. So they're probably just switches, or maybe they're pressure. There has a bunch of resistor divider things here too. So they might be sensing a particular pressure level and then switching. I don't know. I don't know. We can read the labels here. System vac. So these are maybe vacuum sensors. So this one maybe measures the system vacuum, and these are switches. This one's different than the other one. So DUT clamp. Quad 1, Quad 2, Quad 3, Quad 4, switch. They're labeled S's. So maybe the switches are S's. I don't know. Rev board. Got it right the first time. Or maybe they got it right the second time. There's always debate on whether you call your first board Rev A, or that's your first board doesn't have any revisions and then you have to add the revision. I don't know. I kind of like Rev A for the first one and then B. But everybody else is different. Everybody else says, no, you got to save the R's for the ones that you screw up on. So I don't know. Up to you. There's no fixed rules. No fixed rules. Yeah, I don't know. This connector here is for the other guys. He plugs on here, and then he connects to these guys. So in addition to this board doing its thing, it's also a go-between. And there's a bus here. There's a whole bunch of, I can't see them, but there's a whole bunch of lines down there. About a dozen connections. I don't know. It's interesting. So let me show you the other thing that I'm confused about. Please help. So big lot of tube wiring. Here's like an input, and there's a big thing here. I think this might be a vacuum connector. I'm not sure. And then there's this thing. This I'm really curious about. Okay. So it is a 91-297J, 91-297-2J. It says 80 PSI. Is it a pressure relief valve? Is it a regulator? Is it a... I don't know what it is. But it seems to be necessary. Yeah, seems to be necessary. This is out of a... here's the part number for the whole board here. Let's see, oops. Yeah, it's a pneumatic control. Okay, whatever. No, it looks like fun. Would really like to get these guys up and running. So, point me to a data sheet for these guys. We'll try them out. And, yeah. Oh, I can read you the Honeywell number. Just a second. There's a Honeywell number on there. It's like it's double stamped. Yeah, it's very hard to read. All right, if you can recognize this stuff, you know how these manifolds work, let me know. Any suggestions of playtime with these things? What could we do with them? Put this one back together, I guess. All right.